don't. Hopefully, this doesn't get copyright strike because of background music. I wanted an update. I actually recorded like a 40-minute long discussion in the last 2 weeks, or I think a month since I last recorded. But turns out I didn't record properly, so yeah, doing it over again. So a lot has happened. I got into Berkeley, so I was really happy with that in terms of, I guess the branding of the school helps a lot with my future hopes, and if I go into technology, it's really important, or it's not really important, but it can help me a lot. And the location is nice, so I'm really thankful for that. And in terms of the podcast, I released Masayoshi's son, and working on the Warren Buffett, although looking back on it, I should have probably chosen a shorter book. It's around 700 pages, and so it's a lot of work trying to get through this, and I'm getting a little bit bored. Not because, I don't think it's because the book is boring. I find it interesting. It's just after I got into Berkeley, I sort of felt a lot doping because with a traditional middle school and probably middle school where you kind of post, your friends post stories and then you have to repost on Instagram. Anyway, I wanted to see what it felt like. It felt really nice because I got comments from the people. It's like one day just everyone thinking about me, right? Uh, I don't want to call myself a vain person, but I think a part of me is vain. I just like the attention. So, but that kind of ruined my dopamine levels in a sense. So I've been recovering with that. I'm just still reading and doing things, but um, yeah, not as dialed in mentally. Uh, yeah, and I gotta put screen times on again because that's really helpful because it's just my dopamine to baseline where then I'm drawn to things which I think are more naturally I'm more inclined to, which you can't really go when there's so much more dopamine. There's so much more dopamine, right? Going out eating good food, or yeah, I think the only thing that really beats it is like a physical interview, right? So I want to do more physical interviews, but I think having these books and doing a bunch of them, one is a differentiator because my podcast can be both very uh, high analysis of great books across history and ideas, and right after write for my scripts, and that makes me think of it makes me develop my skills in terms of how I think. Because I think my thinking skills improve when I write, not when I talk as much. And when I talk, I feel like my commentary and what I can add to this is as much as I hope it to do. It makes sense. I'm quite young. I think if I read more, I can. These are in some ways heavily refined thoughts and words of really great writers who spent thousands of hours writing biographies of the greatest people in the world, and the greatest entrepreneurs. So yeah, I hope to write more and to do more monologue podcasts. I can practice that skill of mine and continue going forward. I also have been thinking of what makes me unique, right? What makes you unique is, I think that should be my pure focus, because the pure focus of the podcast, it's a weird game. I told my mentor, I swear, you have to also think about the audience, right? The audience is customer is king. But also, if you merely just go for a customer, you might lose your authenticity. If you think too much about what they want, and then you end up not being you, then no one wants to go to you because you're not real. That's what the podcast looks for. That's also what I would probably want. I want people to connect with the real me, not the fake me. The question is the real me, right? I generally have a sense, so I'm trying to do it, but then, yeah, so it's a weird balance. But staying with what I actually am generally curious is if I do it for long enough, I can find better avenues and I can find more things I'm interested in. Something maybe click that I'm interested in that people like. And if I do that, then people will start watching, and I also can continue that for a longer period of time. Um, I was thinking recently, Mr. Beast had an episode with Larry the CEO, world class podcast. Those are one of the podcast episodes that are like, you remember. And it's very interesting seeing how his mindset, because once he started building Peaceables and other entrepreneurial ventures, he realized that he doesn't just like content generally, he actually enjoys just building things and being the best at it. And I think that maybe that's what I am also driven by. I like grand things. I want to do big things in the world, and maybe it's because I just want to be the best. Like, I analyze all the other podcasts that get grasp, and I want to be the best. Um, Not sure why, but that's what I want to do, and I think that is a better. Uh, I think it makes me understand, like, oh, so I'm going to try to be the best podcast in the world, right? And maybe for a decade or so. But after that, also want to build other things, and I feel like this podcasting thing will build a very good base because it's going to be profitable if I build it right. And my mentor, I saw his dashboard pages and how he's funneling it, and he has only 10,000 episodes and 10,000 subscribers, and generating a lot. And I saw the dashboards and I saw how he built everything. And there's definitely a way to build a podcast. It's not even that big. It's just the right audience members and the right way of monetizing them where it can become sustainable. Which my goal is really to sustain myself, right? And then on top of that, you have that marketing and the attention, people authentically gravitate to them. So you can actually build products that people will buy just because of you. If you make the product good, then that builds even more reinforcement with you. Which is, I think, one of the things that won't replace um, AIs, right? I had a really great analogy about why I think AI won't replace people. It's kind of like when you play chess, like we still watch Magnus Carlsen, we still watch Hikaru Nakamura. They're still playing the World Championships. I guess most people don't, but it kind of got popular when I started watching some of them in my free time. But we know that AIs are better than them. Like AIs are much better. Magnus said in his interview recently with Joe Rogan that he almost barely plays the ones even on his phone because he makes him feel so stupid. And I think that if you want to watch, I guess, the best, then you probably watch AI just playing. But then it's not entertaining at all because it's not relatable. When you see normal people playing, even though they're far worse than robots, you still find some satisfaction. So I wonder if that same logic can be going to podcasts and content where AI might be able to make better content that works more well with your brain. But the only issue is that if your brain knows that AI, it doesn't really work. Um, like an AI chess game, like if you didn't know and there's a chess connoisseur, they might enjoy it a lot. They might think it's crazy how high level thinking they are, but once you realize they're not going to watch it. Or maybe that's the same for podcasts. And that analogy has sort of given me a little bit of more clarity. I think it fully has, because I wonder how much of an impact AI will have. Well, at least one thing I know is I'm not going to listen to just AI robots telling me everything. Um, and the other issue is in physical media podcast is not just analysis of things that anyone can basically get with your books, but there are questions about people that they've never really answered before. That's another added benefit. Those are some thoughts I've been actually thinking. Um, and yeah, so my goal for the podcast is I'm going to go to Berkeley, probably Berkeley, unless I get into um, Brown with financial aid. That would be really amazing. But if it's not that, I'm probably going to go to Berkeley. And then while I'm going there at summer break, I'll work on the podcast and I'll hopefully be in uh, San Francisco, Bay Area, around June, middle of June. And then meet some people there maybe. Or maybe I'm going to not go to America and maybe save up some money and then go to some other country and then go to America. But I want to turbocharge the podcast more, make more episodes. I'll try to improve the quality, make it our main focus now. It's really hard because I feel sort of conflicted with like, oh, I gotta enjoy the last high school semesters, but um, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on that, so I don't think I've been the most productive at all. I'm hanging out with my friends, and the friends in my school are not the friends I had, not entrepreneurial friends, and they're all in America right now. So um, yeah, but anyhow, outside of hanging out with friends, which I'm still thinking about a little bit, gotta make a decision honestly. That is the turbocharged podcast focus more on because I want to make sure when I'm in Berkeley that I can start making money from it, or using some form of it I can help consult people or something along those lines. So I can make some money for myself, or I can pay a good portion of the tuition for my family. Or if not, I want to do what Masa which is one that which Masa was in Berkeley, and Berkeley is very academically hard and a lot of work, which I would enjoy if it's mathematics or something related to the technological aspects of artificial intelligence. Um, So that was worth it. But still, Masa, he studied a lot. He had like 5 minutes or however minutes per day he allocated towards building his business and paid for the Berkeley. What he did is he hired a lot of professors and his friends to help run the company. He managed them and he came up with the ideas and he was the one who's really selling it and selling it very harshly, but in a small amount of time he reached out to everyone he can. In the meetings um, he, uh, he aimed very hard, he tried very hard, but in a limited amount of time. Because most of the time that it takes to build a product, at least for his translator company, was just technology behind it itself, not actually selling it. Selling it is hard as well, but um, that's the things you could do, and the other things you have to learn more to do, I guess. So maybe something along those lines of building a team, maybe trying to get some of the professors. It'll be very hard, I guess, because not at the same time. But if Masa did it, why can't I? And maybe some of the people in engineering departments, software development areas, um, and yeah, build a. I want to make sure though. I want to solve problems like how Masa solved it, where he had index cards. Uh, and he had a computer algorithm where I think he gave like 50 to 500 different kinds of words, and the algorithm made three random mixes of those words, and he would rank them by three metrics, which I think was size, like how big it can get, what his own unique skill is to that, like how much does he know about the industry, how much advantages does he have, and the third is I think something about profitability, or I'm not exactly sure, but at least those three scales he used and he measured. Um, the business needs, and that's how he came up with the computer translator idea. And that's when actually he went back to Japan to build his next company, which eventually became SoftBank. It's also built using a similar algorithm. I think that doing something similar will be helpful. So I'm using that with ChatGPT and making up some ideas. There's some ideas I like, um, but I think I have to do more, ideas. Because if I can actually go through a lot of ideas and really, really pick about it, and I don't want to spend too much time. I feel like a lot of my friends think that is just inaction, right? I've also been in action the podcast, but I've been too much about what to do. And that's not really helpful because you also want to keep moving forward. Because kind of like at some point, if you never do anything, all of your theories are just theories. And the philosophers of the past were quite accurate in some sense, but also they were quite far off because it was just all based on theory. And it was a quote I learned from Oppenheimer: theory only gets you so far, right? It's actually test. Um, So yeah, so I have to keep continuing to build the podcast, but building it, maybe make some algorithm and figure out like what is the uh, purpose, how do I actually make money for myself, right? That's a very important aspect. I'm becoming a young adult and I want to take care of my kids, not kids, take care of my family. Um, not being, I'm not, yeah, and not have any kind of financial burden for my family. I think Berkeley is very expensive for international students, so yeah, that's the goal. And yeah. And just meeting my mentor, I can't tell who he is. I'll ask him so I can maybe mention him later down the road. I'm shadowing him right now and I'm learning a lot. Whenever I shadow him, it's kind of like, wow, it changes how you think about podcaster. I asked him what was his biggest issue, and it's self-limiting belief, and I'm still facing sometimes. But I was telling him questions about. He was saying like you could probably start. He said you should probably do it. In his own podcast, he has a consultation, right? And he sells merch and he runs events for the people, and he charges a lot of money for some of the higher level guests because he's entrepreneurial. He's focused on entrepreneurship, around $20,000, right, per person, or $1,000, $20,000 around. But you're saying that you can try charging if you practice. You see, I think I personally don't believe that what I have to offer in terms of advice is always the most helpful. But he said maybe you don't need to think big, like oh, like big aspect businesses, or I guess what you learn from being a business coach or whatever. You can and you can test it if it works or not. You really don't know. And I personally, maybe not, but in another aspect, you can also think of how you want to do 2,000 subscribers, because that's still a lot, or how to get the gear set up, or all these things. And you can sell those services, or you can consult other people, or you can maybe on a course or whatever, and that can generate revenue, right? I always feel sort of conflicted on that, but if I'm confident that what I deliver can actually help you, which he was showing me all the Instagram accounts and all the people who've been sharing and stuff, um, it's kind of like, okay, they've actually found it useful. And these are actually physical people in there, and the call and the videos, and I search them up, and it's kind of like, oh, if I do it in the right way, I can actually help people. And if they want a refund, you ultimately just give a refund. That's what he does as well. So having the proper uh, funnel in place and all these things, it's super important. With saying, and even initially, like, you know, it's first it's just good, so it's practice. So when things are actually running, then you always have this thing when people can funnel into if anything like happens where you can actually generate money from it, right? And not just that, you might be able to do it now. And I was like, no, there's no way, right? My podcast name thing, it's shrinking right now. I actually lost 10 subscribers. So, yeah, I don't think it is. But he's like, that's just your self-limiting belief. I was actually thinking about it more, and I realized some of the people who actually listen. One was the Coupon ECTO. Coupon Eats is sort of like Uber, Uber Eats, right? Uber Eats in America, or I think DoorDash. And he reached out to me. He's like, "Oh, good podcast. Right? I like one episode, and I'm wondering if I can make a proper funnel. If they like the episode and they know I'm just like, I don't know, I guess I'm not broke, but financially striving, 18-year-old, in the middle of, yeah, then why might they not support you? Or why might, I don't know, I'm thinking one of my other mentors, uh, Natsu from Maldives, from Lodi Files, uh, which is one of my guests in the podcast, he also said he could see like people like me just charging, and he's seen a lot of people like me charging to build podcasts for the companies. And that can generate you $5,000, or maybe even more if I put my, he said I'm still $5,000 to $10,000, right? So if I can do that and have 2-3 clients, that's very profitable, and that takes care of every need I need. Practically one client takes care of everything I really need to provide. All the others can be saved and invested in other things they want to do. But yeah, those are some other avenues. I probably think an agency is too much work. And also, I want to call it an agency. It has a bad reputation. So, but probably consulting is the easiest effort. But then I can focus more on the delivery and also not deal with constant back and forth. When I was trying to build a web agency, it's kind of annoying because people just agree to the price and they stop responding to my messages. Like super annoying, right? Because I guess I'm a kid, so they can do that. But then, yeah, it's a lot of pain for nothing. You know, I was so happy when I got a $700 client, and then just leaves. And there's another person who's going for retainer for something, and they just leave. Anyway, um, yeah. So building some probably merch in first, and then consultation. Um, and I'm thinking of. I always think about names of the things. I kind of like thinking about it. I think I overthink it sometimes, but I'm waiting for something that clicks. And my mentor was saying instead of modern Marco Polo, just Marco Polo. It might be more nicer. And I was thinking it's more simple. Maybe it's kind of like the name is Speed Explorer. Uh, maybe that's nice. I'm not sure if I'm trying to be explorer necessarily. If I'm trying to like be a world builder, that's the other idea. I like Marco Polo. I've been sticking with that, so I'll probably stick with that. And I want to make my webpage into the. I'll make my page Marco Polo first into the things which are funnels, so I can generate revenue or whatever. Um, First things first, as like I said, some kind of consultation. Uh, Maybe some form of community might be interesting. But I'll probably have 3 of them, but I'm gonna focus on whatever seems to have the most attraction, whatever I think is the most, whatever data seems to recommend, right? But this is probably a bit later on, though. But I want to build it right now. So if I can get any money, I can get it. And if I get money, I think that would be very, what do you say, inspiring. It would be kind of motivating because sometimes things don't work, and I think it's been slow because I haven't really put my attention, full focus on it. Um, Once I do, I hope maybe to funnel in. And once I think revenue starts coming, I think it'll be more interesting because um, I can reinvest and I can do more interesting things and get more guests on. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But that is most fundamental point, what I have to actually focus on is the quality of the content, the quantity of the content, and how fast I can get better at it. Right? I think that's more important. Right now, I might be shit, but um, if I can just learn fast and improve every one on some small aspect and keep the quality, then that's good. I've been trying to keep a harsher quantity deadline. I haven't met that just once a week. My goal is 3 a week of books. I'm not sure if I can keep that. I mean, if I cannot just 600-page books at that point. I wonder if my summaries are even helpful. Also, I don't want to overthink on books because I'm not trying to give people some like I want to add my own thoughts to an extent, but I don't want to because I want every single new episode to be something I learn and something I actually change, but not like reinforcing a belief, which is nice, but I don't want to always reinforce it because they might be wrong. I want to give a certain viewpoint and the arguments of a certain entrepreneur on how to build businesses, how they live life, some mistakes I've noticed. But that's it. I want to just do that. So maybe I can keep it at that pace. If I gotta choose my shorter books, I bought some shorter books to read. Um, and also, when you're reading it in the first 50 pages, if it isn't that nice, you change the books. Those are some things I'm thinking about to make it absolutely faster. Um, and also, not editing it really. Maybe Joe Rogan type of podcasting might be nice. I'm not sure if David Senra from Probably even edits. I think he might. Harry Stebbings edits a lot. He's more like quick, quick, quick. And I want to be quick, 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 but um, maybe I don't want the stress necessarily. So maybe editing's right, but I just don't like editing. Maybe it's because I don't like hearing myself or the voice. I mean, that's a common thing for almost all podcasts. Even Harry Stanton said that, but he still listens to everything. He's like, I'll listen to everything, check that. I think that's one of my problems. I don't listen to it as much. I need to, right? I like researching other podcasts and learning about how they're doing things, but I don't think I've put enough attention to what I am actually putting myself. Like, how is this working? Is there any issues? I gotta think more about that. Uh, with my idea, which I think drove me forward for the first 40 episodes, it's kind of like, it is, not kind of, it is the belief that I just gotta put in quantity and I'll get better. And just keep getting great guests and just kind of be very slightly, but I don't think I'll put in as emphasis on improvement, but more on just sheer numbers. So I think quality is a focus as well. And more importantly, just like improving one small thing every episode. Uh, and just get to 100 episodes. Which I think, I mean, if I go at the pace I want, then I'll reach it this year, and I will. It's very interesting how I'm going to manage that with the workload at Berkeley. And then I'm going to try to make sure this year is the year when my podcast is profitable. And the goal is, I think a feasible and accurate goal might be 50,000 subscribers. Guys, I'm not going to try to pay or use any ads. I use a little bit of ads, so I think like 50% of our podcast subscribers are from ads. I'm not gonna do that again. I think that kind of ruins actually the fun of it, and also a lot of them don't view it. One of the ranters that test it out to see how it works for you. I don't think it turned out well. Also, I tried to go for audiences where was it the cost per subscriber is the cheapest. So not the best viewership, and not the best for the high-end entrepreneurs I want. So I think that makes sense why people have been clicking away. And I'm wondering maybe I should start a new YouTube channel for the pod instead of the the current one because all my friends subscribe to it and all my classmates listen. I don't want, I get too anxious or too, I think too much about it. I think too much about uploading because kind of like, huh, all my classmates are going to watch it. And when I'm doing a presentation, it's like, I know who they are, who the watchers are. If I don't know them, it feels a lot more stressful and I think it's better episodes. So yeah, but I probably got to stick with the one I already have or I'll put a lot of effort in. Why do all that again? But yeah, it's very interesting. I think we're going. I actually just got an offer from St. John's College. I'm really happy about. Got financial aid offer, so it's really cheap. I'm not sure if I want to be in St. John's in terms of location. It's better than Berkeley. A lot cheaper, maybe, but probably not. Yeah, that's it. I'm excited. I don't know. Whenever I record these episodes, kind of like I just wonder how I'm gonna be looking back on it. Just I don't know, 10, 20 years down the road, this will still be online, assuming the internet hasn't shut down. and my friends, my kids, when I grow up, my wife, the people I want to mentor when I become more successful. It's kind of like an interesting looking back on these episodes, and I hope motivates you whoever you are. I want to document sort of how actually what you're saying. The goal to becoming a trillionaire. I shouldn't even go from a millionaire or 100 million to billion or trillionaire because I think if I take care of my body, I think I can live till 200. I think if I can at least live to 200, and assuming my opponents don't care about health as much as I do, uh, then yeah, I think I can win them just by virtue of I'm alive, you're not alive, right? And if I'm alive more than you for 6 years, you can build bigger companies and we can all dominate the market more. I get to $1 trillion market cap a lot more likelier. Um, that's not the biggest goal. I do wonder if you want anything big, it does require sacrifice. But maybe in the long run, if it's what you want and if you take care of other things in the long run, you can get everything you want as long as it's in the very, very long run. Even when I'm 200 or whatever. But I think if I can have something as big as that and probably in biology and physics is what I'm interested if we can solve large testing issues in that aspect and use a lot of the funds to build schools back in Kyrgyzstan, not even Kyrgyzstan, just in the world of a new way of educating people where I'm not sure how I can make it large scale. I'm not sure how I can make it small scale. At least for my own kids and some of my friends, I want to build a school which really accelerates learning for things you're interested in. Like, still I'm really sad. Like, I think it's going to turn off some people, whatever, but I really like math when I was growing up, and I think that I could have learned calculus when I was in second grade, in all honesty. Maybe calculus, it's hard, but my brain was as fresh as it was today. It developed in terms of maturity, and and I don't even know if it's my brain that developed. It's just like the world expects you to end up doing it. But then, if I believe you at such a young age and you have aptitude for it, I think you can learn it very easily. Not even like a genius level aptitude, just a general aptitude. So have that where people, if you're good at that field from the young age, can accelerate very, very quickly in whatever domain. Um, and also make classes much shorter. I don't know why we spend so much time. I want it to be concise, kind of the 4 hour deep work, and everything else, rest is for play, or playing with things, or passions, or whatever. But that 4 hours every day is, however numbers around that per hour is focused on education. No outside homework, maybe some, but trying to limit that as much as possible because um, I'm thinking about what to build in the habits in terms of how to live life. Like, I think homeworks are important because you have to preparing for notes and meetings, but a lot of it is thinking on the spot, or actually preparation is very important, but um, a lot of working, at least what I can see or understand, is a lot of deep thinking. Uh, deep thinking requires you to have very intense hours of time, which something you develop your habit. So I'm trying to focus on that, and also, um, I don't know, maybe I might need some. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe if I want to build something functional, I also got to be able to do long hours. So I got to do some way of doing long hours. Also do training, martial arts, and all those things. Um, and see the world at a much younger, earlier age. Those are some things. And I don't know how I can do that on a large scale. Because I want to hyper specify to each person, which I think AI might allow. I think, and the most exciting in this aspect where maybe I can build AI companies in the education space is I really hope to replace teachers. Most teachers. I mean, there's some teachers that are really amazing teachers, but most teachers, I honestly don't know why they're teachers. I just feel like a robot could do the exact same job. And I, this is a big thing I was thinking about. I learned better with AI than most of my teachers in high school. Like, I would honestly just be better off having that hour just learning on my own with the computers, the AI, and conversing with it. And this is at its initial stage. I just wonder if it goes forward, and I think we actually need to think how important our teachers are. Important. Are teachers just like a decorative teacher, just to kind of show the past, I guess, just a weird decoration, or is it? I think because you need to have emotional connections when it's there. There's going to be probably teachers, and it's going to be some ways, but tech school can be shortened because of AI. And outside of learning, less high ones suck. Those high one teachers are probably going to be replaced having AI to teach everyone. And I think that if it can be utilized properly, then we can sort of have a more meritable society where we have equal opportunities given for everyone, where we have tutors and people who teach the students at a better rate than any tutor you could find for however rich you are. Because you can find better tutors depending on how much money you have and how much attention level based on the money. I recall that even like 400, 500 years ago, I'm not sure when standardized testing was introduced in China, but even when it was introduced, the wealthy people had an advantage. I can see in our school as well, where they have actually have ones. They have tutors that can pay low. And not wealthy don't have those opportunities. They can't perform as well. So in China, the standardized testing, they had some tutors, and that accelerated a lot. So I think AI will massively change that because I already learned it faster. Like the only issue right now is the reliability of its answers, and maybe the way it's teaching you is not the best for how humans tend to train. And maybe you can make it so it's kind of like memory function of ChatGPT, where it's hyper specified to how you learn. Maybe doing some research studies or doing some studies where we calibrate it towards, I don't know, like how AI will work is, you give them like, how your test went or how your scores went in school, or how you rate it based on your understanding, and that makes it even better, more specific to you. Um, but it'll be really nice because I feel like people aren't going to have the crappy teachers like mine, and I also have to spend less time in school because I hated school so much in my life. I'd be forced to be with friends classmates who I didn't find inspiring, nor moral, nor people who I ever want to surround myself with, or even want my kids to even be near. Um, from a lot of aspects, I think the unethical mindset slowly gets to you. Their lack of vision gets to you. Their discipline gets to you. Their work habits, everything infects you very easily. That's what Mr. Beast is saying. He's very careful on the people surrounding himself. So maybe this is an answer I gotta just stop meeting. If you're one or two friends who are in high school, which is all that statistically, if you want to achieve the top 0.1100001%, you probably need to surround yourself at least the top 1%. And by virtue, there's like 30 guys in my class. 1% is not even one person technically. Maybe if I make it bigger and allow myself some leeway, and also the fact that our school tends to have, I think, smarter kids, extra kids than other international schools. Maybe two or three at maximum. That's still 10% in all honesty. So, um, yeah, yeah, I should stop. In all honesty. Yeah, that's it. Really sad for things to happen. And yeah, as always, uh, I'm not sure. Ima has this thing. I wish Ima hadn't come up with it because it's so nice. So, um, as always, I'll come up with something. I'll just let's keep grinding. I'll come up with something. I'll use AI and stuff. But as always, let's keep going. Cheers.